Hey y'all, welcome back. Welcome if you're new. We are jumping straight into this one. I've got my nails prepped and ready to go with my dehydrator and rubber base. I'm going to be using these dual form tips. There's another video, I'll put it up in the cards, of a more detailed explanation on how I use these. The gels I'm going to be using are Milky White, all LGM Pro, Milky White, Meadow, which I've never used before. I've been dying to use this one, and Daylily as my nude. And I left one of these in here. I left the green one in. I thought that would show up the best. But yeah, like I said, there's a much more detailed version of how to do how I do this, how I even, how I cut the dual forms down in the first place and how to size them and all that good stuff. So if you're interested in that, it will be up, it'll show up on the screen up in the top corner, and you can check that video out. But what I'm doing basically is I want to make my own tip. So I'm getting just a little bit of gel on there, just enough so I can hold on to the end of the tip without getting my other hand all, gel all over it. Giving it a little flash under my little flash cure lamp there. And as soon as I feel like it, I push up on the edge of the tip, and as soon as it has kind of caught, the gel has cured enough so it's holding in place, then I'll go in and fill out the rest of the tip with a very, very thin amount of gel. Make sure all my sides are covered, and once I've got that the way I want it, I will give it a full cure in my big lamp. And yeah, I know that at least probably one or two of y'all were expecting me to do my next set, which would have been this set, using those new sandwich dual forms. I'm struggling with those, y'all. I cannot get them to work and make a good, anywhere decent looking nail. I'm having trouble with them. So yeah, I had done a few nails with those before I started on, these, and they were not working out. I had to file them off and start all over, and by the time I started what you're seeing now, it was already late as hell, and I was so frustrated and tired, and I definitely made a few mistakes on these, and I will point those out to you all as we're going here. First of all, that middle nail is crooked as all hell. I mean, it's just terrible. What I'm doing right now is something that I have not done a lot of, and I definitely haven't done on this channel. Doing a sculpted French, which I'm sure y'all can see with your eyeballs. Yeah, this is something I'm not very practiced at doing. So yeah, that's why it doesn't look that great. But a file will solve a lot of problems. So thank goodness for that. But yeah, if I had been thinking logically and not rushing this set the way I did, first thing I would have done is I didn't go down the sides of those tips with a file and shape them hardly at all. I just kind of went down the sides a little bit to knock off the excess from the dual form tips, and that was it. If I would have looked at that middle down, seen it was crooked, I could have fixed it, but I didn't. And I also should have filed off that ledge that's going across the middle of all these nails. That is a step I usually do, and I definitely should have, and I will not skip it again. It causes a problem on my thumb, which I will point out to you later, and you'll see when I go to sculpt that middle nail the trouble I have with it. My original intention for these French nails, I wanted to put the 77 nails decals I'm going to use on a couple of the other nails. I wanted to put them in the French tips too. I wanted to go from like this point basically, and then I was going to do a layer of white gel polish on the French tip, put the decal on, then encapsulate and clear. I abandoned that because like I said, I was tired and frustrated and it was getting late. I ended up just doing the green tips. First of all, I've gotten that, what you're seeing now is cured. Now I'm going back in with another layer because I need to build up the edge of that nail bed so I can file into it and sharpen it up, basically. So that's what I'm doing here. I got a little slip layer down, and I'm going to put this gel, this little scoop of gel, I'm putting it right there at the edge of my nail bed. So I can build that up and, like I just said, have something to file into. This, I feel like, I don't do acrylic. I've never done acrylic, but I feel like this is probably something that's easier to do with acrylic. Hard gel, definitely, it has, it self-levels, and it doesn't even start to set into place, cure, whatever, until you put it in the lamp. And by the time you do all that, it's already starting to move. But it can be done. This is what I've gotten it built up to. I'm going to do the thumbnail the same way. And now I'm moving on to the middle nail. So, where I've got this ledge across here, right across the middle of my nail, I don't have a very smooth surface. So I'm going to try and fix that with this first layer of gel. And you'll see me do it here in just a minute. This nail, it's not a problem because the tip is in green already. This is going to just be a solid green nail. When I go to file into it later to shape it, I'm just going to be hitting, green under green. So this one is not a problem. The thumb and the ring finger, the thumb had a bigger ledge on it than the ring finger did. So the ring finger is not going to be a problem. But the thumb, I had a pretty big step on there from that clear gel. And once I put the nude on it, it covered it up. But once I filed, I hit that clear, and I will zoom in when we get to, later on in the video and show you what it looks like. But yeah, this video is very much a don't do this kind of video. There's a lot of mistakes in this set. So yeah, now y'all know, don't do that. But anyway, so yeah, that's what I'm trying to do here with this first layer. I'm just trying to get a smoother surface. So when I go back in here in a minute with another scoop of gel, it'll be easier to sculpt my, shape. So yeah, once I get this first layer down, I'm going to give it a cure. And yeah, so that's where we are now. Going to get my slip layer down, get my second scoop of gel on there for strength and structure, and give that a cure, and then we'll move on to the French tips. Okay, so I have gotten these 2 nail beds filed around the edge to make them the shape that I want, and so they're nice and crisp looking. This is my next mistake that I made. I should have stopped right here and put either a matching green gel polish or a white, either one would have been fine, around the edge of that nail bed to make my French look very sharp. I didn't do that, obviously, and I mean, it looks okay in the end, but it definitely could have looked a lot better. So, yeah, that's another don't do this. But, yeah, it's okay, but it that definition that extra little layer of color would have given just right that very thin line that would have been there right around the edge of that, nail bed, it would have looked so much better. But, oh well, like I said, tired, late, lazy, all mistakes. But anyway, what I'm doing here is just filling, excuse me, filling in the end of this nail with my green and trying to get it worked up into the wings of the French tip. And I'm going to do this in 2 layers. So I will just let y'all watch. Okay, so I've got all my gel on. Everything is cured. I'm going to get everything a file, a wipe, and I think that's where we are now. Yeah, got all my filing done. We're ready to move on. So my 77 nails order finally came in. These are the decals I'm going to use on this set. I bought these specifically to use with this green gel, and I'm so glad they match so well. The rest of my order included these black and white ones. They're on a clear background. I don't know why I bought them. They'll probably go on a giveaway. I got some Lisa Frank ones, which I'm so excited about. Some strawberry shortcake ones. And Care Bears. I'm so happy to get these. Oh, and Tenderheart was on them. And he was always my favorite. Even, back in the 80s when I was a kid, Tenderheart was always my favorite. So, okay. So, I've already done my pinky nail here. Before I did that, I went in with a thin layer of base coat on the 2 white nails because I have learned from previous experience that these decals do not stick well or very much at all to just a buff nail. So I cut it out, but I had left that decal sitting in that water for, I don't know, 30 to 60 seconds. And then I'm going to get it on this nail. And it takes a little maneuvering, but that base coat being under there also gives you a little slip, basically, from the sticky layer that's left. And it does help you maneuver these decals around a little easier. So, yeah, that's what I'm doing here. I'm getting it, positioned and getting it kind of, I mean, they do have a little stretch to them, so I'm trying to stretch it around the curves of the nail and get all the wrinkles out and get it to lay nice and smooth. And once I have got it positioned the way I want it, which I think is right about here any second now. How well does that green match that green gel? Oh, I'm so glad that they match so well. Right here, I am just trimming off the excess. It's not completely dry yet, but it's positioned where I want it, so I'm just getting that extra off of there. And then I'm going to give it, I don't know, a couple minutes to let it finish drying all the way. And then I'm going to take a file down the sides of it and get off all the excess. And that's where we are now. And 77 Nails recommends that the next step on these decals be a layer of base coat. So that's what I'm doing now. And I'm using this specific one because it's like water thin. It is so thin. So it's not going to add any extra bulk or layers or anything. But yeah, these nails, they remind me of my very first set of like adult bedding that I bought after I graduated high school with my first adult money job. It was a Martha Stewart set. I'll put a picture in here, the closest thing I could find. But yeah, they remind me so much of that set of bedding I bought back in like 93, 94, something like that. Yeah, I wish I still had it. That was the prettiest set of bedding. I still think about it. I just thought it was so pretty at the time, and now it was like that shabby chic kind of look that was really huge there for the longest time. And so yeah, shabby chic nails, I guess these would be. But so yeah, got the base coat cured. Next thing I'm going to do is get some of these little tiny mini bows on there, and I'm going to adhere them with my Bling It gel, which I am really starting to get along a lot better with now. There's a definite learning curve to this stuff. It's very thick and very stringy, and you have to get used to it. But here is where another mistake I made. Can you see that line there? That's because I put the clear tip instead of the matching green tip. When I filed into it, I went through the green a little bit too much, and so yeah. I've lost count of the mistakes that I have made at this point. Oh, it was a lot. But so yeah, I'm just getting these little bows put on here. I went back and forth between the white ones and the pink ones, but I thought the pink ones were so perfectly matched to the rest of like the decals and stuff. So that's why I went with pink. But so yeah, once I get this positioned like I want it, I'm going to give it a cure. And then here in just a second, yeah, I've got it cured. And now I'm going to go around the edges with just what's left on my brush of that Bling It gel. Because these bows they do kind of stick out. They're tiny, but they do stick out a little bit. And those edges are kind of sharp. So, okay, here's my thumbnail. That's where I filed into it with where that clear was left on there that I did not file off in the beginning. So yeah, I think that's it for all the mistakes, though. I hope. All right, final nail. I'm going to use these little roses that I bought ages ago, and they did come with these little pearls and caviar beads There's some clear beads in there that are like a clear iridescent. I'm going to use a couple of those too. And yeah, I know I just bought that roses mold, and originally that was another thing I intended to do, but yeah, not at this point. So I remembered I had these other roses though. I bought these, I couldn't even tell you how long ago, on Temu, Shein, one of those kind of places, and I had never used them. And I got them out and looked at them and thought, oh, they're so perfect. They match so perfect, and they had the color variations in them, and so yeah, I finally got to use them. So I'm glad I did. I think they match really well. And they're really pretty, and they do have kind of sharp edges though, so I did kind of go over them with a very thin layer of matte top coat, just to kind of knock the sharpness off the edges. But yeah, I think they look really pretty. So yeah, I'm satisfied with them. But anyway, what I'm doing here, I coated the entire nail with that Bling It gel because I didn't know exactly how I wanted to do these. So now I've got room to move, I'm not locked into a specific, spot just where I put the Bling It gel. And I'm going to get 3 of them on here, and then I'm going to go around the edges with the pearls and caviar beads and some rhinestones. Now, I know I've told y'all this before, but I'm sure a lot of y'all don't watch every one of my videos, so I'm going to say it again. When you have bigger charms and stuff on, like these roses, you want to go around the edges of them with something. Caviar beads, pearl, something, rhinestones. I'm trying to think of how to explain this. The edges of them are going to catch on stuff. They're going to catch in your hair. They're going to catch on your clothes. And you're going to be more likely to rip them off. So if you have these smaller things around the edges of them, it lessens the chances of that happening, basically, from them getting caught and ripping off your nail and being painful and causing problems. So yeah, and then they all kind of support each other too. When you surround things like this with other smaller things, even bigger rhinestones, when you surround bigger rhinestones with smaller rhinestones, they all push into each other and support each other. That makes the whole design last. You don't want to just put, a couple big rhinestones on and not put anything around the edge of them, because they're gonna get caught on stuff, and it's gonna be a problem. So yeah. Anyway, what I'm doing is I am building this nail up, getting it where I want it. Once I get it the way I want it to look, and I finally decide that it's time to stop, because that's something else I have a problem with, knowing when it's time to stop. Once I get to that point where I'm happy, I'm going to give the whole nail a cure, and then it is finally top coat time. Okay, so got that middle nail cured. I'm going in with my shiny top coat. At this point, I had gone in with matte top coat on the full decal nails, the pinky and the pointer. I thought I wanted them to be matte. I ended up changing my mind. You'll see at the end of the video, they're all shiny, and that's why, because I changed my mind. What I'm doing here is I'm just kind of going around that little bow, around the edges of it, kind of over the top a little bit to make sure it is sealed in really well. And it's not going to be, knocking down the sharp edges, making sure that it's on there as well as it can be so it lasts. The middle nail, I'm going to do pretty much the same thing. I'm going to go around, well, as soon as I get done messing around with this middle nail, I think I saw that it didn't look very smooth here. So that's what I was trying to fix. And let's see, middle nail, like I was saying. I'm just kind of butting up to the edge of all the pearls and rhinestones. And I didn't go over any of the rhinestones with the top coat. I did take that little detailer brush that's off to the side. I did take that and go over the pearls to make sure that they don't discolor on me over time. And I took a tiny bit of the matte top coat and went over those roses like I was talking about earlier, because they do have kind of sharp edges. I didn't think that they would look good shiny, so that's why I took matte. And it did help. It knocked down the kind of the sharpness that was on the edges of those roses. And that's where we are now. So, and look at that middle nail. It takes a big shoop. It's it's got a curve to it. But so yeah, I'm just showing you there that those roses aren't as catchy as they used to be. But man, that middle nail is so crooked. Ugh. But yeah, y'all let me know what you think. Did you like the matte better? I'm still 50-50. I can't quite decide. But all in all, if you just give it a glance and you don't look for problems, I think they look pretty. But y'all let me know what you think. I'm so glad the decals and the gel matched so well. But so yeah, before you leave, please like, subscribe, comment, hype, all the good things. I would appreciate it. Thanks for sticking around. I appreciate you all. And I guess that's it for me. I will see y'all next time. Bye.